Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new here. Today I'm going to be sharing part 4 of this series. Last time, part 3, it was a very hard video to film. It was about the traumas that I had went through. It took me a bit to actually be able to share what I had shared in the previous video. So I'll have the link to that video below if you have yet to watch it. In this part, I'm going to be sharing about my healing journey. And this was a very emotional time for me. I had lost trust in my body, in life, in the universe. And I felt like I was all alone on this journey. And I share what I'm sharing today because it gave me hope, a glimmer of hope when I would hear stories like this being shared. To recap, I was at the hospital for 5 days after collapsing, after feeling so deeply dehydrated. And in the previous video, someone had asked, why was I so dehydrated? And the reason why I was dehydrated, and this is not 100%, this is from my own analysis, I think it's because a couple of things. I was highly stressed out. I was in this constant fight or flight. I was denying my emotions. I didn't want to feel anything. And so I was addicted to doing, addicted to working out. And I would work out to the point where it was very unhealthy and I was not eating properly, not enough protein. I would also go to the sauna quite a bit and hot springs. So there's a lot of dehydration or loss of electrolytes when you do go to a sauna and hot spring and you need to replenish them. Something that I didn't know, no one told me about. The stress, I think the number one thing was the stress. I was highly stressed person. I had been through a lot of traumas as a child and I was not in my body. I would dissociate from my body. Prior to going to Japan, I had multiple anxiety issues. I had panic attacks quite consistently for 1 year, and I had read a book and that helped me to overcome panic attacks. I read that people would stay with this for years. I'm like, no, that's not going to happen with me. I'm going to find a way to overcome it without medication. And of course, medication is sometimes important for some people. For me, I was very stubborn and I knew there was a way to do this through my mind. And I did it by really surrendering and not fighting what was going on in my mind. And that does require training for sure. I also had general anxiety disorder. I would also be easily stressed out from the smallest of things. I was not really in my body either. I felt I had no confidence. I felt worthless, really, and no one would ever find me beautiful. And that was, there were so many lies growing up that I absorbed into myself. And now I've completely transformed that. And I know within myself that I am confident and I am beautiful. And I defined my own beauty, and every person should define their own beauty, not an external definition of what's beautiful, because that's constantly shifting and changing, and you want to be grounded and solid within yourself. So that was what I did. I defined what femininity was for me in Japan. After being in the hospital for 5 days in Osaka, I returned back to my city of Iwakuni in the prefecture of Yamaguchi, and I started to do a lot of research. I wanted to know what was happening with me. I started taking omega-3 or ordered some vitamin C, B vitamins as well in order to help my body. And this was all from my own research because no one was able to help me. I also did a diet called the GAPS diet for like 2 weeks. I went back to Canada August 6, 2016, and it was such a hard flight for me. Like I said, I was very weak. To even hold myself up was so difficult, and I would pray. I was praying so much. I'm like, please God, please angels, archangels, please hold me up because I'm not doing well. I need some sort of miracle to get me to Canada, because I didn't believe I would be able to get to Canada. Mentally, I was unable to see the reality of things. My barrel of trauma was overflowing. I couldn't withstand anything. I was hyper sensitive to everything. So when I got to Canada, my uncle actually picked me up from the airport, and I did not know that he would be picking me up from the airport. That was a surprise for me. And knowing that I had taken off the hijab and my family in general is very conservative, it was a very awkward, interesting situation that took place, but they were okay actually with that. I had been living with my two brothers at that time, so I started to research again. And prior to getting to Canada, I started doing hypnosis to do with adrenal fatigue. I wanted to rewire my mind through hypnosis. And this hypnosis recording was specifically to make me believe or rewire my neural pathways to believe that I don't have to be doing something all the time, and that is safe. It is safe to be present and to relax. The body can get into this parasympathetic nervous system response, which is the rest and digest. And as soon as the body switches from the fight or flight, the sympathetic nervous system response, to the parasympathetic nervous system response, then it moves into the self-healing response. And that was my aim. That's what I wanted to do. This was all from my own research because, again, doctors were not able to help me at that time. So I went to first a functional medicine doctor / osteopath. That was a very powerful experience. He had told me that my nervous system was fried and I needed to take 3,000 milligrams of omega-3 and 3,000 milligrams of vitamin C every day. And I started doing that. I was also taking B12, much higher dose than I was giving myself. And I did a lot of energy work. So I went to a reiki healer. I did Chinese medicine, acupuncture. I also did my own healing. So I would do reiki on myself as well. I did healing through food. So I started to eat foods that are healing for my body. I had at that time completely removed gluten, dairy, and sugar, which was very hard. I'm just going to say this. It was very hard. At that time, I was having pre-diabetes symptoms. I also went to a shaman, a couple sessions with him. There's a lot of healing around my childhood, a lot of healing, specifically healing my inner masculine. I had lost trust in life a long time ago, but it was even stronger in that time, during that time. My relationship with my father was very bad. Still bad, not as bad as before, but it was very much, there's a lot of trauma and pain around that in my childhood. And I started to learn how to feel again because I was completely numb. I started to learn how to be present in my body again, which was a horrific experience because I'm a highly sensitive person. I feel things. Highly sensitive, by the way, does not mean weak. Highly sensitive means hyper aware, just more aware than other people. And that's a medicine that the world needs. And that's something that I had not understood. I thought it was a weakness. I thought my femininity was a weakness. And I was more into my masculine energy. And I burnt out my masculine pretty much. And now I'm more in this feminine flow within myself. And mind you, at this time I was not working. I had no money. I was using my credit card. I did start working actually the first month I got back from Japan. I could not work outside, so I had to find something online. And I've been teaching since then. The last week of August, I started teaching online on a platform called italki.com. I've been teaching there for over 7 years now. And that's been what gave me some money, but it wasn't much. Like, it was not much, like, at all, like, enough to pay for basic needs, whether it be food or rent or, like, thank God I was living with my brothers. One of my brothers was taking care of that. I was using all of my money on healing, on recovering, and hence why sometimes people get into a lot of debt when they start doing the healing process, because it's so it requires a lot of money. It does require a lot of money. The holistic medicine is not covered by healthcare here in Canada. Also the supplements, the supplements are quite, also they add up quite a bit. I felt like these different modalities were great, but they were not enough. I felt like there was something that would be more efficient. Eventually, December 2016, I found an energy healer who I stayed with for 4 years. Once every month, I would go and see her. She was a channeled energy healer, so she channels different beings of light. And I was given guidance and energy healing in order to shift my body and to heal what was going on. To give you some of the symptoms of what I was going through at the time. Number one, I was terrified of being outside. It felt like a war zone being outside for me. Every time I would go outside, I would come back home quickly because I felt unsafe. From the logical mind, this does not make any sense, and I'm aware of this now, but at that time I was under the density of fear, under the density that I was not safe. And when your barrel of trauma is overflowing, logical mind is not there anymore. And having been through many anxiety issues and lack of trust in the universe, in life, in men as well, I had lack of trust in men due to the traumas growing up with my father, around my father. That was number one, not having trust in life. Number two was I would have intense stomach pains, the top of my stomach, to the point where it would affect my legs. I literally could not walk. I felt like I would be on my knees and not be able to walk. I think what was happening energetically, I wasn't able to feel strong enough. I also would get very dizzy, a lot of dizziness. I had adrenal fatigue, so I was extremely exhausted. So from every energy healing session, I would go home, meditate, I would re-listen to the session that I went through, and I would shift the energy, because for energy healing, it's not during that session only, it is what happens 2 weeks or 3 weeks after that. And so I would integrate this energy and go back and continue. This is not for the faint of heart. Every session, I would be crying. I would be releasing so much anger, past life stuff, whether you believe that or not. I didn't believe in past lives, by the way, until I had an experience of some sort. And so that's for another video. If you're interested in knowing more about that, I'll make a separate video about past lives from my own experience. So ancestral healing as well, the healing of the pain that's been passed down from generation to generation, through my mom's lineage, through my dad's lineage, and healing that. Now, in one of the healing sessions, I was guided to go to Sedona, Arizona. And Sedona, I stayed there for a month. It was one of the most transformational experiences. I was told to go there specifically to heal my root chakra, to gain trust again in my body, to gain trust again in the inner and the outer masculine. And it really was beautiful, amazing experience. I was able to trust again. And I also had an ex-boyfriend at that time who lived in the US, and I also learned how to gain trust again through him by just being in the presence of someone who is very grounded. That really does make a difference when you have the presence of someone where you feel safe and protected. Not the healthiest relationship, but I felt the safety for sure, 100%. I just want to also mention the fear of being in hot weather, under the sun, taking showers was still present. I would overthink taking a shower. I would overthink being outside. And when I went to the US, I lived there for a year, I regained my trust again in being outside, which was amazing. So I went to Sedona, Arizona in 2018. And that was a really powerful experience. I went to California a couple of times, and that was really powerful as well. So I did a bit of traveling despite my fear. I was like burning myself out and burning my credit card out too at the same time, which is not good. I want to travel again, but now I'm more grounded and not just like up here, you know. And then in 2020, I was able to feel really balanced within myself. I turned 30 at that time. And yeah, I've been just healing, honestly. It's just been this process of understanding myself and coming back to myself and sharing with the world this sort of journey. When I was in Sedona, actually, to heal the PTSD, I met someone who was in the army as well as a cop. And we went to a wolf sanctuary. I'll place some pictures here. And it was such a very healing experience. These wolves, they're specifically for physical and emotional healing. When I saw the physical healing wolves, I cried. I cried and cried. I didn't know why I was crying. And the lady who was the owner of this sanctuary, she knew this was normal. People would come here, they would know of this place by the word of mouth. The land was sacred land of the Aboriginal people. And I went there twice with this person. We both gained some sort of healing through this. Him and I had similar sort of symptoms. It's as if I was a soldier at war. And through this experience, I felt like the PTSD started to like really ease off. And I started to regain trust in in life again. Having been to the wolves, there's a documentary I think around this where a soldier can go to heal their PTSD by connecting to wolves. Mind blowing what took place at that time. It was really healing. So that's the end of my 4-part series. Thank you for watching. If you have any sort of videos that you would like to see from me, feel free to comment below. I have so much more to share with you guys. It's been fun sharing this all with you. You can connect with me on Instagram. You can check out my Instagram below. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.